So now let's take a look at how we can work around with the properties of these recorded video clips. So for that, I'm just going to go on to the track and right click, and over here I'm just going to solo out the track so I just see this layer. So I have my cursor right here, so I'm seeing this particular clip. So over here, if I were to go on to the properties, then I have an option to work with its visual properties, with its audio properties, and with its cursor properties right here. So let's go on to the visual properties first. So once you go to the visual properties, you see that you have a scale option right here. So if I were to click and drag it, I can scale out the visual or scale down the visual just like this. I can also go around here and then type in the value. Let's say, for example, if I want it to be scaled at around the value of 75%, I can simply type in the value, press enter, and the video will be scaled out to 75%. I can work around with the layer's opacity from right over here, just like this as well. So I can go around, let's say, for example, I'm just going to disable the solo track and I'm going to select this layer. And you see that you have the same option as visual properties for all of these layers which is there. So if I were to decrease the opacity, you can see that it becomes transparent. So let me just enable the solo track again and work with this particular clip. So I can work with its opacity and I can work with its rotation as well. So it's the same as working just directly over here. Just like over here, anyways, the value that you add in is more precise. You can go around with the rotation, like you can work around with the z-axis or enter a particular value like 45, and that's how you work around, just like that. We have to press 0 and press enter, then that's how that actually holds in place. You can also go around with the y-axis just like this, and it moves in a 3D space. So this is something that is not possible just by dragging it out. But over here, if I were to drag and move, you can see that now everything moves up into 3D space, even in the canvas directly. In order to reset all the values, just click on this right over here if you want to reset a particular property, or if you want to reset the whole visual property itself, then you click on this icon right here. So you can move this around and rotate it around on the 3D space, as you can see. The other part you have is the position. So you can go around here and add in a position. Let's say, for example, if I were to do 50, then it moves 50 pixel onto the right. And if I were to go over here and press 50 again, it moves 50 pixel up. I can also go over here, reset this out as well, just like that. So that is how you can work around with the position. If I were to move this around just like that, you can see that it affects the position right here. If I were to move it around, scale it out, you can see that it is directly manipulating all the visual properties visually, just like this. So, and to, let's say, for example, move it around onto the side, you want to have exactly minus 200 pixels. You can see that is how it can move around. So let's just go over here, reset all of this out. Besides the visual properties, you can also work around with the audio properties right here. So you can see that I have an option to gain. So you can see right here in the audio, once I click on it, you have this sort of a line. So this is audio property as well. So if I want to increase the volume, I simply click and drag this up right here. Or if I want to add in just like this, if I want to work with the audio, the other option I have is to work with the gain right here. If I were to increase this out, you can see that I can increase and decrease the audio level, and this volume is different from this gain level. So this directly affects the waveform, while this one affects out just in the timeline, as you can see. So there are two ways we can control out the audio. If I were to increase the track size just like this, I can be more precise. And while editing the audio, it's a good idea to not let these audio waves touch out right onto the top. I also have an option to mix the audio to mono. So what that does is, if you have two audio channels recorded in, then you can mix it out to mono. So especially when you're talking about voiceovers, it's a handy option to mix it to mono if you only hear your narration from one of the speakers. So that's the audio properties that you can work around with the recorded clips as well. So now let's go around onto the cursor properties right here. Once you move around, you can see that the cursor has a certain size. If I were to scale it out, you can see that I can scale out the cursor size just like that, and all the movements of the cursor become larger. I can also work around with the opacity of the cursor. So the cursor in Camtasia is recorded as a separate footage on the top. So you can see that you can work around with that just like that. You can change around the opacity, you can change around the scale just like that, of the cursor just like that, and everything works out just like that. So you can work around with the cursor. You want to make your cursor larger, then that's something you can do right here. Of course, you can reset that out as well. And that is how you can work with the visual, audio, and cursor properties inside of Camtasia. So hope you guys learned something as always. And as always, please like, comment, share, and subscribe.